Did Ray mute all of us?
No,
that was an intentional mute. Anyway,
look at that.
we're on stream,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, we are?
Oh,
Yeah, we are. Hi, everyone.
look at that.
I'm not Dan or Ray, but
I'm
I do have a
reversed.
3-letter name. My name is Ian, and welcome everyone to the Mushroom Kingdom Racing retro discussion on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. As you all know, the Nintendo Switch 2 was teased a while ago, and that Direct is coming up a week from today, on April 2nd. And in that first look trailer, we got a whopping, 10 to 12 seconds of the next Mario Kart game. Whatever it be called, I'm just going to refer to it as Mario Kart 10 because that's what Dan has it as in the library. So I'm your host tonight, Ian.
9. Sorry.
9.
10, 9, ultimate,
We're off the rails already.
whatever. So we have panelists of Mushroom Kingdom Racers. If y'all want to introduce yourselves, you can. If not, we can just hop right in.
Yeah, I'd say go ahead.
Going in alphabetical order.
Let's go alphabetical order down the Discord. That's the easiest way, because I think we can all see that.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess I go first then. I'm Ariel Puzzle, and I play a lot of Mario Kart. Yeah, like a lot of us.
I'm AG. Been here not as long as most of these people, probably all of these people, so glad to be here.
Yeah, I am Basic. I have been playing with these guys for about 4 years now. About 4.5 years. So
I'm up on 6.
I too have been playing a lot of Mario Kart. So I actually did the math on this, as I tend to do, and if there was a period of time where I was averaging, if you took it like over that 4-year period, I was averaging like 2 hours a day on the game, like every day. So quite a bit.
Yeah, Bitsdad here. I am Basics mentor and coach.
I wouldn't be where I am without Bit. So I really appreciate all that support that I've been given over the years.
Channel 3 Trav G here, and I wouldn't be here without Basic, but Bits is a pretty good support too. I'm just glad to be here for tonight, guys. Let's have some fun.
And I'm Frizz. I have been racing with the group for just a little over 2 years now, and I don't know who Bitstat is, so we'll just leave it at that. Ian already introduced himself.
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay, so I guess it's me then. I'm Jedi Johan. I guess I'm the guy in this panel that's been part of the group the longest. I started with the Dad Gaming Mario Kart. Joined the 5th day the group was open, but I didn't get raced till season 2. But that's why I'm rocking the old school jersey tonight.
Yeah, so
Nice.
all of our panelists have varied history, but of course we all come together, the Mushroom Kingdom Racing, and I don't need to list off the formats or anything. I think we all know what's going on. But the main point of discussion is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the game that this group has been playing for what'd you say, Basic, like 6 years?
I think I joined in like maybe season 4 or 5, and so maybe about 4.5 years.
Yeah, so it's October 2019.
The league actually that was when the finals. The group opened up in September.
There we go.
Which is important, like shortly before the pandemic. So some guys just wanted to play racing, but then the pandemic hit, which changed everything.
That's why I joined the group. I was like, I need something to do. I need to get together with some people and play some games, man, because there's nothing to do right now. Everything is closed.
All right, so Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, highest selling game on the Nintendo Switch. It's pushing 67.5 million sales units for the game. That's a lot. And next Mario Kart game, Ray's got the trailer ready. You can go ahead and play it. People are thinking this next game is going to top 8 Deluxe, but we'll get to the next game in a second. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, fantastic game. I'm just going to throw this question out there. Anybody who wants to answer it, what in the world makes this game so great?
It's definitely blue shells. I don't think there's any question. Any
Blue
of us that have be leading a race, just getting hit with the blue shells, just peak. That's why Ariel comes back. I know it's every time. You know, he's out front running us, just getting hit with the blue shells. The thing. So
So I'll say, like, just the amount, like, where it's a 3-minute race, so it's quick, it's done. If you sucked, no worries. If you hauled it to the end and you won, like, what an exhilaration, and you want to go back. And so, like, just it's that quick turnaround, and anything can happen. And honest to God, when I first started playing, like, it was such a great exhilaration of all these items. If you use them, great, but if not, I mean, you still have other ways to win at the end, and it's only 3 minutes, and so you're on to the next race.
And I think what makes Mario Kart 8 so great is that it's accessible to anyone. So if you have a 4-year-old that wants to play, you can turn on all the assists, you can turn on the auto steer, the auto boost, all that stuff, or you can have those of us who are very competitive and want to race all the time. So it's got a wide appeal no matter where you're at that you can play, and it's the ultimate party game. I think, not much single player stuff, but as Trav always says, it's the people you play with.
I think a big part of it too is versatility, especially coming from just playing it casually myself. By myself, I haven't had a lot of people in my real life that played with me, and then coming to Channel 3 and meeting all of you and seeing the amount that you guys have like made it into, like all the different events, the different cups, the different activities that you guys have decided to like create. I think that's really interesting, and it just proves how versatile the game is. Like, it's not just a racing game, it's not just a party game, like there's so much to it. So I really like that.
It's just
Yeah, I think for me,
it's endlessly.
it's the time
Go,
trials.
go,
Also,
go
sorry,
ahead.
you can hear the piano in the background. But yeah, for me, it's the time trials. Like, I think the game just feels really good to play. Like the way, like when you're driving, it's very satisfying because it's very responsive, right? Like, I think one thing that I like about kart racers in general is that like when you have more like racing sim games like Forza and those types of games, like it's how it would feel to drive. But when I hold right on the joystick, I want my cart to turn like right away. I want my car to turn like right away, and I want to feel like I'm, that I am like agile and that I have a lot of control over what's going on. And I feel like this game just the physics of the game just make it really fun to actually drive, and it's very satisfying to pull off a lot of the the kind of high level strategies and stuff. So that's what kind of kept me up with it, is just the time trials. It's just there's no ceiling, right? You can always improve at it, and it makes it really fun to kind of track your progress over time.
True.
it's
I
can be
was
kind
just
of go ahead. You go first. Sorry, my mic was muted.
Yeah,
Go.
no, I was just gonna say it's just endlessly replayable, right? I mean, even though, I mean, now there's 96 tracks in the game, which that's versatile enough, and that's enough variety. But every time you run a race, it's absolute chaos, and there's no way to know what's actually going to happen. So even when you're racing against top tier talent, you might get lucky and wind up winning, and that feels really great. So it keeps you coming back. It's kind of like playing real golf, right? Like you hit one good shot in a round of golf, and then you come back again, even though
Little
you hit
dopamine
about
release.
80 batches, right?
Yeah. No, I can definitely that golf comment. I can completely relate with that, and especially what Basic said about the time trialing. Like it's like that rush, and you're putting in time for a couple of tenths. For me, that was just that hooked me. That's why the first year I started playing with the group, I think I put almost 900 hours into the game that first calendar year. So that was just a lot, but it really is just that enjoyable. Like you kind of said, like the physics of it handles as a really well played, a well put together. So, and I feel like sometimes with like video game car mechanics can be a little bit rough. It is clean, it's nice. So
One other thing
That's
I just
true.
want to shout out there. When I had a couple of buddies join me, and I told them where, like, with Kart, it's not about climbing up with items and whatnot. It really is about skill and using the mechanics of the game, right? Like you can be the most basic player, but if you understand the mechanics, you're going to do well in the online lobby.
Mm-hmm.
Trav, is there a more casual way you'd like to say that statement, particularly request from the chat?
No, sorry.
No?
Oh, Trav. And I will say, like, it's so interesting to be here, especially with basic, because I came from the Reddit community. That's how I found C3 was through Reddit. And before I was in the Mario Kart 8 Reddit all the time, and people constantly recommend your videos for time trials, like constantly. So like to actually meet, I guess, and see I'm like, oh wow, that's like a full circle moment for me. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of a trip. Like that's like when I started kind of realizing that, like, oh, I might actually have interesting stuff to talk about, right? Is that like when I started seeing my name pop up on Reddit, I was like, oh, this is like really weird. It's very weird to see someone talk about you on the internet in a
Yeah,
nice way.
I'm sure.
I'm not used to that.
It's funny.
And then there's those of us that remember when Basic first showed up and didn't win right away. So I always have that
Isn't that
memory.
crazy?
Yeah, it
Oh,
took a
man.
week or two.
I was gonna say, was that a good 2 weeks? Like,
It was that was
Dude,
a
it took a long time, man. Like it took because when I started, like I started with the time trials. I went back and forth with somebody who used to be really active in the group named Jim, and we would go back and forth fighting for tenths of a second, hundredths of a second. Sometimes there's one track I remember in particular was Bowser's Castle, the one in what is it, Special Cup, and we went back and forth on that track so much, and I think that he ended up beating me by like 0.006 seconds on that track or something. So it just shows like how close some of those races can get. But it's like
Mhm.
that, like that was what got me started in the group. And even though I was really, really good at the time trials, I could not win against like Mickey Wins for the longest time. I was like getting second places like 4 seasons in a row, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's made me crazy.
he's good.
He's representing for Atlanta.
Right? Yeah.
Ariel, is there anything you want to add? It looks like you want to say something.
I was considering talking. I'd say for me, it would probably be the item management, and maybe it's more just because this is like the first Mario Kart where I actually cared about item management and actually cared to learn about. Hey, if you're in first, you hold the stinking coin so that you can make sure you have defense in your pocket and stuff, different things like that. Where like I would say like we even had like the original Mario Kart 8 where we didn't have that ability. We only had one item slot. And so being able to go back to having 2 item slots and being able to have that versatility with item management. And even to an extent, you can kind of gauge like, okay, I'm in 5th, first is like this far ahead. I can probably expect maybe I'll get like triple greens here, or maybe I'll get triple bananas, or maybe it'll just be a banana and some shrooms or something like that. But you kind of, after playing for a while, you get to gauge how much, like what type of items you can expect. And then you start strategizing around that. And so I think the item play in this game it's not without its faults, as any Mario Kart game. I mean, of course, if you're running away in first, you don't want to get pelted with triple reds from second. But, and of course, bagging is a topical issue. But I enjoy being able to strategize around the item play and kind of know what to somewhat expect. And
I'm
Yeah, I
going
think
to jump in because I just saw in the chat where O2 mentioned cart customization, which is a big deal in trying to figure out our metas. I think that's been a lot of fun. And even figuring out stuff that you can, non-meta builds that you're good with that you can race with. So
Yeah, I think that the game does have, I mean, just in terms of just availability, I know like O2 and I, when we were kicking back and forth just with time trials and things like that, just looking at all the different builds on, like the websites that have kind of developed, that have had that. To kind of touch on what Ariel was saying too about the item management, and I know Basic, you've mentioned this plenty of times in videos and even just conversations, is like that the online play it plays different than a racing game in some senses, because obviously bagging's that strategy that you can employ, and it's like it is a little counterintuitive sometimes about how you're going to play the game. Like, oh, maybe I don't want to be in first in this place. And I think Ariel, coming from a very competitive scene before he joined the group, it's like it's a different perspective. And I think that's like one of the other things too. And Jedi, I don't think this is going to be an insult at all. Like, you're the ultimate casual, right? Like, you just love the game just to play it.
Oh,
And I know
absolutely.
Ariel comes from a competitive side, like, but here we are on an evening in the middle of March, 8, 10, almost 10 years into this game cycle, and we're just chatting about it from all sorts of different backgrounds. I think that's just some value that you also have with it. So that's my 2 cents with that.
Yeah, let's take a little bit of time to talk about the items themselves, because bagging, obviously a strategy that's amplified by the double items, but the items, they just
Do
create.
we want to talk about what bagging is in case people don't know about it on stream?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good call out. Thank you, Basic.
It's evil. Sorry.
I mean, you probably have a better idea of what it is than I do. Do you want to go ahead and explain it?
I think does Ariel, do you want to talk about it? Because like I know what it is, but like I don't really race online like as much, and you've got more of a competitive flavor. My perspective on bagging is going to be, my language on it is going to be colored by the fact that I'm a time trialer. So
Fair. So basically, the bagging strat is, hey, I'm going to stay behind. I'm going to purposely try to stay in the back and get more powerful items. Utilize those powerful items, such as the golden mushroom or the bullet bill, or even staying back to try to get the shock. And utilizing those items to my advantage to slingshot me towards the front at just the right time to allow me to win. There are certain tracks lend more to this. Of course, that's something that we didn't touch on this time. There's a variety of tracks that allow for, that's more for like front running or more of a mix or more for bagging and stuff. But a traditional bagger, like maybe Mario Circuit 3, that track has a lot of off road. So even if you're just using a star or just using mushrooms or anything, you can easily slingshot yourself up. Oftentimes, utilizing bagging can also be, hey, I'm going to stay in the back and spy for the shock. Wait to see if someone pulls the lightning and then try to time my dodge to essentially get out of the lightning, not get affected by the lightning bolt while everyone else is affected by lightning. And that's another effective way to slingshot up. I think that pretty much covers majority of bagging. But I will say, a lot of bagging, well, yes, you're staying in the back, there's still a necessary amount of skill to stay in, like, as you're slingshotting yourself up, you still need to be able to know how to drive the lines. And in fact, you're using power items. So you're using mushrooms, you're using stars. So honestly, your lines are going to be thrown off more than usual from your time trial lines because you're going naturally faster. So being able to adjust to that is a skill of its own.
I think that's a good point, because I think that a common misconception is that bagging is like the easier way to do it, and I would strongly disagree that it is not the easier way to do it personally, because I have tried bagging and it is very difficult for me, not very good at it. So I do think
It's
that,
an eye bag all the time and never get first.
I call it unintentional bagging.
unintentional.
Unintentional
Yeah.
Plays the game. Yeah.
There was a memorable night when we were playing against Mickey's high school kids. So I was there with Rusty, a couple others, and Mick's kids were totally begging. And so Rusty and I said, okay, we're going to try to hang back here with these guys, and we're just going to try to, undo this. And my God, they totally got us at the end because they were good at begging and we weren't. They totally shelled us at the end. They shocked us. They did everything that they had to do. And so it's a real skill.
I think like when you see this game being played like I guess this is going to get a little off the item path, but the game can be played at obviously the different levels like we were just chatting about, but seeing competitive 6v6 matchups through MK Central like and everything, like watching how they coordinated, and even like a little bit when I've kind of played with Ariel with some more competitive players recently, like, and they're like the strategies that you take with the items, like, okay, it's like, you know what, we're in a position where we've got the bottom, we're in the bottom half of this, we want to get the shock, and then what Ariel's saying is like, okay, we want to get those dodges, and then it's okay, we're going to count it down. So like it adds a whole other element of strategy to it. It becomes a team game. And the item set, like, it's just, I know, like, originally with the way the shock worked is like you could shock people over the gap and they would fall down. So I think one of the things that Nintendo has done is they've really kind of like they've made adjustments to the way it's been played. They've improved the gameplay performance. I'm sorry, the gameplay experience for Bagel. And like they've done those things to try to. I mean, one of the patches that recently came out was trying to eliminate that idea of bagging, where they're gonna nerf the item set a little bit. If you go through the same item set, you're not gonna pull those power items. But I mean, we've kind of figured out how to get by that anyway. So. But I mean, in terms of items, I think like this game, like I know, like we talk about it in the group, like there's certain items we love to get in different positions. You pull bombs in first place. It's just fun to throw them, backwards.
And like the blooper, man, that is like the ultimate power item. I love it. Blooper. Every time I get it, I'm just like, I can't, man. I could not have pulled anything better than this right now.
It's like when everybody pulls the
number
blooper,
one item right there.
The blooper. Gosh, I sometimes forget that's an item you can pull without the crazy 8. Like, where does it come? So yeah, it's
so useless.
Really.
You always forget it until you pull it, and then you're just like, damn it.
You don't see the.
God, I'd rather a coin at this point.
Yeah.
Exactly. At least I'll be going faster with a coin.
Yeah. It's an agreement. Bloopers and blues. That's all we're gonna do. So.
That poses an interesting question. What's everyone's favorite and least favorite items?
I think Blooper just took the lead for least favorite.
Yeah, but Piranha is not far behind.
Yeah, Piranha Plant is so annoying because like it's like, cool, I'm getting a speed boost, and yes, I can chomp people if they're in front of me, but also at the same time, like it's taking up so much time, and I'm trying to like hurry up and get through it. And now,
and there's no defense behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
It will eat the blooper though. The Piranha Plant will eat the blooper. That's kind of nice.
It trumps it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, the blooper.
I personally love the Boo.
Yeah.
Boo is the best, in my opinion, because it's shock dodge. You steal an item, you're invincible for a little bit. Like, I mean, you can't really get better than that. It's 3-in-1.
I like the ring as well. Using the ring, you throw it forward, backwards, you get it back. I remember there was a time racing against Basic. He's like, man, I'm getting hit with ring that every time it's Jedi passing me, and it's just a great item.
It is fun. It is actually. I like how versatile that item is, because you can use it for aggression, you can use it for defense. And you get like sometimes you can also kind of strategically get rid of it if you don't want it by throwing it when you get into like a double item set. So there's just like it's one of those things that it gives you so many options for how to use it, and I think it's definitely one of my favorites. I also like stars and boos a lot because of the invincibility. I like the star a little bit more because it gives you that speed boost, and it also gives you the invincibility without being totally kind of like. Because I think bullet bills would be an obvious choice for people's favorite because it's like makes you just go so fast. But like when you're using it, you can just kind of put the controller down, and I don't really like that aspect of the bill. Like I don't like how it basically plays the game for you, which is like the star lets you still interact with the game and gives you all that the cool benefits. But just for like utility, I like the boomerang the best.
I think
AG says bombs.
Bombs. Oh, yeah.
Knowing this group, I think that is.
The clippable moments are so overpowered in first place, but man, it's fun. But AG, kind of along what you said about the boo. The reason I love the boo is, it can be hard to, if you're seeing someone, if someone is trying to like target shock, the boo hides you from that whole group. So that's actually why I like it a little more than the star. If it's going to be like around that time for it, but I mean, being able to take the cuts, obviously, the advantages. So it's a trade-off there. But I think, like, you know, like all of a sudden you appear out of the boo, out of the shock, and it's just, oh, here I am. So
You can, like, go in front of somebody without them even knowing and just drag something right in front of them and they would have no idea. It's just
those are just the moves.
chef's kiss.
Drag something super horn, like Callie was mentioning the other day, fire flower out of the boo. Oh man.
Yeah.
You don't see it coming until it's too late.
Diabolical.
Callie never met an item he didn't like to throw forward, backwards, sideways. He'll just go. All right.
And actually, I kind of want to circle back to Frizz's comment about you used to be able to shock people over the gap. Like, you're referring to gliders, and I think one of the things that drove that change was the introduction of the custom item toggle. Coincidentally, Ray has that showing on stream, so that's kind of why I thought of it.
Okay.
But with custom item toggle, you could do only shocks, and your races go from 2.5 to 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Because people would just be, target shocking over the gap, and people are just falling off all the time. It's like, hold on a second, let's slow down a second here. Let's actually, improve the gameplay experience and make the game a little bit more playable. So you're not just being carried around by Lakitu for 6 hours.
I will say, I think some of it was also because of the tracks that were being added that wave as well. Because certain tracks that were very glider heavy, such as Rock, were added that same wave. So there was some change. Like there were some tracks that I think also drove that change a bit.
I actually remember. So before Wave 3 dropped, and we knew that we were getting Rock Mountain, I remember specifically commenting on like one of the. I think it was like some Wave 3 reaction video I did, and I remember specifically saying like, "Man, target shocks are going to be an absolute disaster on this track." And then when it dropped and they were like, "Oh, we removed that," I'm like, "Oh, okay, well that makes sense."
So how much did that? So around like when that dropped, that was right before I got into the group playing, really playing. How much did that kind of like change Did that really have like a big effect with the group?
Yes, absolutely. Because when we would do kart games, you would wait for the shock until everybody's over the gap, and then you would that was the spot you were saving it for. And so once that changed, it was, okay, now we got to use it differently. So it was kind of a bummer, hey, okay, they're over it. It's not going to affect them now. So now you have to make sure you use it before they're over the gap. That way they actually spin out instead of now and they just get small and continue on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and honestly, the competitive scene was very similar. Like it was always like wait till they're on the gap and then shock them and stuff. Now it's a lot of the target shocks are based off of, okay, they're past this item set, let's shock them now and stuff, or there's no dodges, let's shock them down. So that's a lot of the focus now.
We know about people saving the shock until after item sets basic on Royal Raceway one time in Group A final. So
did I do that?
Oh yeah, you did that. So we all enjoyed it.
It sounds like something I'd do. Oh, I remember that now. Actually, yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
thanks for reminding me.
Oh, that was a tough one to swallow. I remember that just being, and you just popped in a chat and somebody had said, "Oh, was that Frog?" Nope, it was. You're just like, "Nope, that was me. I waited."
Yeah, I learned that trick. I forgot who I learned it from, but I learned it from one of the competitive players, and I'm like, "Oh, that's evil. I love it. I'm going to use that whenever I can."
Yeah.
Yeah, so since that kind of came up, let's also talk about the booster course pass. I mean, that over the course of 2 years doubled the number of tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
For $25 American, so like 78 Canadian. What a deal!
It was such a good deal, though, man.
$78 million.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of money there, Trav G. You had to save up.
That's right.
Yeah,
I mean, I think like I can't believe that we didn't ever not have that. Like, how did we only have the first bit,
right,
for so long?
So when I got my Switch, Breath of the Wild drops. I play, nonstop, and like Kart 8 Deluxe comes out, and I get it, and I just play through the cups, and I remember being excited because I was finally able to play the DLC ones, because on the Wii U, I never got the DLC pack. I don't know, that was my phase of I'm not paying for extra things kind of gaming lifestyle. So then, take the break, and when I get into the group, the DLC course, I'm sorry, the booster courses are just starting to drop, and they're all just starting to get in there. And I remember just like looking at some of them, and they're bringing in older tracks that we've played in previous games. It's just great. I mean, I love the tour courses because it is the different lap. And I know that one of the base game tracks that everyone loves is Mount Wario. And I knew that was kind of like a groundbreaking thing, that it was the circuit. I'm sorry, it wasn't a circuit, that the start line and the finish line were different. And it's such a great concept. So for me, with the tour tracks, they kind of act like that. They have that different segment to them. So I really enjoy racing those. And plus, that's when I started time trialing as well. So it was just like another little kind of like layer of that challenge to it.
Well,
Yeah, I love the tour courses. They're like I would say that out of like the top, my top like 10 courses, there's definitely like I would say probably half of those are tour courses. There's so, especially the later waves like with Rome and Madrid.
Rome and Madrid.
And yeah, they're so well designed, and they're fun to play. Like Rome is like my favorite. Rome is my favorite track in the game. It's just got so much fun driving that you can do, and so many cool little optimizations that I think are just they're really fun to execute.
And as the guy who plays Tour the most in this group and still is playing it, it was interesting seeing, because in Tour you get just the little short snippets of it. So it was fun seeing those all put into a full one and seeing how they were taken from this mobile game into the full. And I think they did a really good job at piecing them all together.
Bits, I think you had something there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when you think about those wave releases and the group, each one of those releases, we were having like release night parties where everybody was logging in and we were running through the different cups together, right? We had never played them before, at least not on 8 Deluxe. So I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting component where the community could come back together on a random night and something a little bit different from our normal releases and experience something new.
Yeah, I definitely want to piggyback on Bits right there. When the first wave dropped, that was when you had to be past midnight in your time zone, and if you were friends with anybody,
that was so annoying, man.
Yeah.
No, fair enough, basic, but that created one of my most memorable nights on Kart Gangs, because we had Jamie on our team, Jamie in the UK. And so for Kart Gangs, because Jamie was there, he could host the lobby, and we were able to play all the new courses in Kart Gangs, just like nobody had ever seen it. And it was just those most memorable nights of nobody's seen this, and we're all going in the first time, and in particular Paris, right? As we're making our turns, and like, holy fuck, people are coming into us in. And like, we had no idea.
Wait,
right?
You can have the beep ready.
Yeah, fair enough.
That is awesome.
But it was just one of those most memorable nights, because the new tracks dropped, and we had the guy in that extra time zone that and so for that reason he hosted that lobby that night.
That is really cool. I've not heard that story before. That is awesome.
That's really awesome.
Basics just sitting there in the past, just waiting for the game to drop.
Dude, yeah, man, like that's what I'm saying. So like, because you guys are only like, I think most of you guys are East Coast, right? So, but for me, I'm on Pacific time, and I'm just like waiting, like, there's that meme of the dude trying to get into the gates. Let me in. So I was with the
and totally going into that night when we realized everything's dropping at midnight your time, and we reached out to Jamie to say, hey, hold on, Jamie, your time is past ours. Jamie, you're hosting the lobby, and what a Kart Gangs night!
Gosh, that's awesome. So you guys got to play it like before everyone, pretty much.
Oh yeah, and then when we posted our results for the group, everybody was jealous because we played the new courses.
That makes it even better to get a little one up on everybody.
Yeah, like your final results screen was probably a a DLC track, and everyone's like, "Whoa, what track is that? What?"
It's gotta be Paris.
Probably.
and who won?
Oh my
Nobody
gosh.
cares.
What
Nobody
a mind.
It doesn't matter.
I don't remember.
But because
I'm just like, because I know like that, so that the Paris has that where we go we go the opposite direction there. I'm just thinking like, what an absolute trip. That is so cool. You got to experience that. It's cool.
yeah, it was.
Nice.
I will say
Vince,
the booster course.
You talked to your brother about that. He was there.
We got Ariel.
But I will say with the booster course pass, I enjoyed that there's that we essentially had like a 4-month gap in between each release, because it gave us enough to actually we're going to optimize the lines, we're going to learn how to time trial this, we're going to learn how what the actual strats are for these tracks, and once we've got it figured out for these 8 tracks, here's another set of tracks to learn. I know for out in Vegas, it was something where SNS have the week of where they released the new booster course pass. It was we had a special finals where we basically played through the entire all 8 new tracks for our finals, and so it was basically cool. We have the new tracks released. Everyone better start time trialing that week, otherwise you're going to be hosed come finals. And so that was always interesting, and seeing how everyone's opinions formed throughout that time of which track they liked, because there are some tracks that I absolutely did not like at the beginning of the release, and then as I learned them more and as I got used to them, I was like, okay, you know what, this track isn't so bad.
Actually quite fun.
But except for Tokyo Blur, that track still sucks.
Trap G, that's a
the
shot.
only one.
I like it basic.
No, that's Trap G's favorite. He's the guy.
I heard it.
I love it, man.
it,
It's
but
great.
we'll move on. That's fine. We'll move on.
And the thing is, overall, looking at it, it's a fairly well balanced, the whole booster courses. It's not heavy on difficult courses or heavy on easy courses. They, looking back, you can say, you know what, there's a nice balance and spread overall on that. Even though sometimes you're like, oh, that's the ones we're getting in this wave, but then you got other waves where it's okay, these are ones that. So I think overall they did a really good job.
I think, and specifically to that, and I'm just gonna say it, Wave 6 is just so good, and the glow up for Bowser's Castle 3, could they? They
so
just
good,
they
man.
did
It's
it. They
by
did
far
it.
my
Good
favorite
job.
wave.
Yeah, so good. Now, O2, I just saw in the chat, he mentioned something that came along with the booster course pass, and this was big in the competitive community, especially basic. I know you're going to have the insight with this. The meta change, the rebalance. So you can take it away with that.
Yeah, so it's a good thing too, because I got to duck out in 5 minutes. But yeah, so the stat changes. So in Wave 4, it was the first of I think, I forget if there was 2 or 3 different balance changes they did, but Wave 4 had the biggest one, where they essentially, up until throughout the game's entire life cycle, if you go into online lobbies or all competitive rooms, you would just be filled with Waluigi wigglers, and there was a lot of complaining on Reddit about that. People on Reddit did not like the fact that everybody was using the same combo, and they didn't like the way it looked. They thought it was kind of lame, and didn't like the fact that Waluigi was the one that was kind of headlining a Mario Kart game, as it were. And so when Wave 4 dropped, they essentially released this balance patch that gave a bunch of the lighter characters more speed, and they also they rebalanced the carts as well. But I think the biggest change was probably giving I think the Yoshi class, I think they actually got I can't remember if it was a full bar of speed, but it was enough that it basically upended the entire kind of Mario Kart meta. And the from my perspective, the only real negative there was that it also impacted time trials, and so it made it so that all of these world records that had been not all these world records, but there were some records that had been they were approaching 1,000 days. Mute City is one of the ones in particular where that record was, I think, a week away from hitting 1,000 days, and then the balance change happened and immediately got beaten, which was kind of bad. But overall, yeah, I think it really changed it really changed the way that the game, not the way the game played, but it changed like what you would see online. Because not only did the actual meta combo change, the best combo is now like a Yoshi Teddy or Yoshi Bitty Buggy, depending on your skill at the game. But it did decrease the gap between like the bottom and the top as well. So it's not just like a level shift where everything was the same. It actually like made the gap between the worst and the best builds smaller. And so you could actually have a lot more viable combos. Like I'm personally of the opinion that you could always kind of play off meta as long as you're using rollers, because rollers are just so much better than every other tire in the game. But otherwise, you could use a lot of different carts and characters and still be pretty successful online. But the balance patch, I think, kind of changed the psychology around it, and I think a lot of people started just using what they wanted because, like, oh, well, it's like not as bad as it was before, even though it was never really that bad. But I think it, that's kind of a the quick kind of 3-minute summary of what happened with those changes. But I think overall, like, I think it was a pretty good change in the sense that it got people using different stuff. It kind of sucks that it kind of messed with the time trial scene and the speedrunning scene as well. That was like, I would say, like, for the game, for the life of the game, it was good. For my particular areas of interest, it kind of sucked. But my particular areas of interest are fairly niche, and I think Nintendo's not really trying to cater to me specifically, unfortunately.
It's funny you say that about.
Oh, sorry.
No, I just want to real quick. It's funny you say that about the rollers though, because like that's like the one thing that has stayed constant. Like, and I know Penguin, who loves changing the build. He's going for the aesthetic for what it is. He just loves it. Making different cool looking combos. He's like, I wish it wasn't just the rollers. Because you have to.
So much.
They're so much better.
So much better than everything else. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Gotta mention 022's comment saying, imagine having Roy and gangs and a meta change happens. It's totally a dig because we had Roy when everyone else had like Iggy and Ludwig and everything. And they did Roy dirty. They totally took him down so bad. It's been a rough gang season for us.
That change did occur in the middle.
Yeah.
I think it was like week 4 of Kart games.
Yeah, it was
everyone's
Kart games.
Kart changed.
Yeah, 022 and I were we were the Roy team that season, and it's like everything just kind of changed.
So he gets it.
Yeah, he totally gets it. It was one of those, and it was also it was a season where we drafted parts too. So we were not on rollers, we were on buttons. We were Roy Wiggler buttons.
Oh my god!
It was and Ariel and Basic. I don't know, like maybe you guys would know. Did they also add the invincibility stat then, or was it just adjusted?
Yeah, that was wave 3. Wave 3 was the invincibility stat.
And then they adjusted it, right?
So the balance change happened specifically because they tried. So I should have mentioned this. So they added invincibility in wave 3 specifically to try and get people to stop using Waluigi so much. So they gave Waluigi Wiggler just trash invincibility, and it just didn't do anything because invincibility just doesn't matter. You can play around it really easily, and it doesn't impact anything. And so basically everybody kept using Waluigi Wiggler, and Nintendo was like, all right, we tried doing this the nice way. Now we're
Yoshi's king, and it's going to be that way.
Yeah, later, Roy. Later, Waluigi, you suck now.
Well, my apologies for thinking that was about me. My bad.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, you're good.
I'm burned by Roy this season.
We get it.
And with the balance stats, then also adding more characters. And we got like 6 new and a lot more memes.
But I'll catch you guys later.
Okay. Good job.
All right, see you, Basic.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for hopping in, Basic.
And so adding the characters was not a big thing, but it brought a lot more excitement. Adding to the, hey, let's use different characters. Hey, we're getting Funky Kong. Let's throw that out. We're getting who are we getting next? Who's coming up? What are we getting? Everybody was talking about. So it was fun, and then all the different Mii suits. So
I love that. Yeah, the Mii suits.
So I think that kind of I think now, Ian, if you don't mind, I think it's like new game now, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
I think Jedi, you just kind of talking about the new characters. I think I'm gonna the thing I want to start with is kind of like Smash Ultimate. Everybody's there. Like, is this next Mario Kart 9, 10, X, whatever you want to call it? Like, what direction do we see this going in? We have a small snippet, and one of the snippets that we get in there, it's the first thing that we've kind of got listed right on here. You can kind of clearly see, plain as day, there are 24 slots on the track for a lineup. So I guess, like, what kind of thoughts do we have for that? Like, I mean, are we going to see 24-person races? I mean, are we going to go like Fortnite Battle Royale? Are we going to have 100-person races? Like, what do we anticipate?
I think it's keeping with the character, talking about that and comparing it to Smash Ultimate. I think we will have a lot, because if you look at Tour, there's all these characters and all these different costumes and, aesthetic changes. It doesn't affect the stats per se. They get special items and stuff like that, but there's a bunch more with that. And so I could see them really doing especially since they put in all the Mii costumes, we know they can have that capability. So I bet in this game there'll be a lot more visual changes that you can do, and there will be a lot of characters.
I've seen mixed reviews on it too. People saying like, it'd be cool to have so and so. Like, who do you want, on this roster? And then some people are like, I don't want a Smash type roster. I want just a Mario Kart. It's Mario Kart. So I've definitely seen mixed reviews on Reddit and everything about that, of what people want and what people are expecting. So it's actually interesting to see that.
Yeah, and with that, I think if they have when Mario Kart 8 started, and there was a vast difference in the characters you choose with all the different stats. If they do that with a bunch of characters, that would be awful, because then you would end up. But if there's very subtle changes between them, then it would just be a aesthetics.
What if everybody's stats are just the same? I mean, what would we think of that? I think it would be really cool if you didn't have to worry about it just from like a build perspective. But then again, like, I mean, in terms of breaking it down, trying to go fast on tracks and time trialing it, there is like definitely the differences,
I would say having some difference is important. Basic mentioned this earlier, that depending on your skill level, a different build in the current game might be better for you than this so-called meta. I think that's still going to be true. The way that you drive, the way that you take lines, the way that you do anything. It's nice to have some options that you can navigate through that. But myself, I mean, I like Tanuki on the land ship. I don't know how many people in this group actually like that build, but I enjoy it.
At least two of you have one A group on it.
I do well with it, but it is what it is, right? So I think you need to have some difference. As far as the bigger races, I would guess that you will continue to see a classic 12 racer race setup for whatever you want it for. But then in addition to that, I think they'll probably let you make races almost as big as you feel like making them. You have 24 people, 48 people, and just have these super giant wide tracks. I don't know how much fun those will be, but I could totally see something like that happen.
More the merrier.
I think I'm less interested in how many characters are in there and more interested on how customizable the characters are. Like, can we at least have different colors for Toad this game? And like,
you get one Toad and you like it.
Yeah, but like, even outside of having different colored Toads, like just custom, like having the outfits and having those things, like that's actually something that I really want, is being able to do that, add like your own unique flair. Because while yes, everyone can have like different colored Yoshis, it's still like, at the end of the day, it's still kind of Yoshi. Like, and this is coming from a Yoshi fan, like, but like, I want to have Yoshi with a little hat, or Yoshi with a little scarf, or like something like that, like something that gives everyone a bit more of a way to like
Yoshi,
reflect their personality.
We gotta throw glasses on them like Super Mario RPG. Like, there we go.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the movie, they had the full cart building scene.
Ooh.
Are we going to get something that has even more customization to the carts?
That'd be wild.
Give us the DS customization.
Yeah, because we kind of like see there's like a gas station in the the trail. Like, I mean, not a gas. Well, I guess no, it is a gas station in the little clip. So, I mean, I could say like, I mean, I'm thinking about you maybe jumping the gun just a little bit here, but like next Wednesday, I have like a block of my life set aside to dedicate to just absorbing the information that we're hopefully going to get. So
Yeah, I kind of want to come back to the whole customization thing. 022 and Twitch chat actually brings up a very interesting point that I kind of want to tag off of an opinion that I have. So 022 notices that in the trailer, Rosalina's in a snowmobile. If we do have the fully fledged card customization like we do in 8, I don't think it would feel or look comfortable if a cart had snowmobile treads on it.
So in Tour, we've got snowmobiles like that. And looking at that, it looked like a lot of Tour visual that was thrown in there with what they were showing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing I'm kind of implying here is that I don't think we're going to necessarily have the same level of vehicle customization in the next game as we do in 8. I mean, it still could be like a Mario Kart Tour thing. It's like, okay, yeah, you get to pick your character, you get to pick your cart with wheels that are already on it, and you get to pick your glider. If that's even going to be a thing, that hasn't been confirmed yet. But it kind of seems like Nintendo's like going in that direction. At least from what I can tell. Granted, it's only 10 seconds, so I could totally be wrong.
Yeah. What if there's maybe they're gonna add terrain to it and make it to where like certain tracks do better with certain builds because the terrain is different? I don't know. That could be something that they could add to.
Yeah, I think if we actually, there's a little bit of that already in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I mean, we talk about, like the Streetle being the water, like it's going to perform well with water. There's certain tires that perform better with, the dirt surfaces and
Like
things
the
like that.
anti-gravity and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those hidden stats of the game that they don't show if you
Yeah, like
just
maybe
select them, right?
implementing it a little more obviously
Yeah.
than it being hidden.
Yeah, I think the sky's the limit. There, you can look at all the different rumors you've seen. Nintendo has poured more money into this game than any other game in their development, which I don't think is ever going to not be true for this type of a title. So, I'm certainly, yeah.
So long as the controls themselves are not stiff or just feel icky, I think we'll be fine with whatever they give us. But
Yeah.
if it is something where it just feels stiff or the carts aren't moving as smoothly as they do in this one, that would be a pretty big
Yeah,
difference.
I can't see it being that groundbreaking of a change. I feel like you'd really, I mean, it is that ultimate casual game, that ultimate party game, but it's still like, I feel like they hit it right, with how this game plays. So, hopefully they would, be sensible to keep a lot of those things the same.
Yeah, with Kart and like with Smash, you hear the Smash players talk about how, Smash Ultimate, just nailed it, and that it feels like we hit the peak of controls and how we play the game. So, yeah, hopefully with the new Kart, they don't change too much with that. I'm sure there'll be little things here or there, but they don't stray away from what made Mario Kart 8 play so well.
Just looking at the trailer, I mean, it doesn't look like the carts handle that differently from 8. I mean, obviously, Mario Kart 9, it has a new visual style. The characters have the squash and stretch. It looks very cartoony, but
Bubblier.
it looks more fluid and natural, but I don't think the carts move that much differently. Like, I feel like
As
a lot
long
of us
as-
agree that Mario Kart 8 has pretty much perfected the driving mechanic itself, and there's not really much that you can do to improve upon that and take the next step forward.
Yeah, just make sure we make everything outward drift, and I think we'll be satisfied.
no more
I didn't touch your subject there, did I, Ariel?
Just don't even.
I
think
know,
about
I
it.
know.
As long as I get my one inward cart, it can go the worst cart in there. As long as I get one, I'm okay.
Just be able to drive with that. I know, like
So
you JPEG Red.
So going with this, over the past several Mario Karts, they've added something new to the kart and the builds. They added the speeder bikes, then you added gliders, and just going with this
Anti-gravity for Mario Kart 8.
anti-grav, all this stuff. What would be a wild idea of something that they would add in the next game?
Mm.
I mean, the one that I kind of like think of here, and Smeagol could have a field day with it. If they added different types of vehicles, I know it'd be, Diddy Kong Racing did it well. I'll give it that. If we add, some kind of element like that, I think that would be a total different. That'd be a game changer. But I guess with a preview, we do have the snowmobile, like we had mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so you're talking about the hovercraft or the airplane.
Yeah.
I think they should add back certain items that they took out, like the mega mushroom and the fake box. Like that was.
Oh, the fake box.
Loved the fake box.
And the character-specific items. That's fun. So instead of picking a character based on their driving stats, I'm going to pick this character because it has a better specific item that you only get with that character. Like the giant Bowser shell that they throw and it just goes through and takes everyone out.
I know we had, with a small group, I know we were chatting one day about it, and that was brought up. I guess my only fear there is do we just get oh, this is the best one, everybody's using the best one,
No,
not sure.
I entirely agree. We're just going to get back to Waluigi on the video.
Yeah. That
needs to be our only character option.
It always comes back Waluigi.
Right, it does.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'll just repeat it. I think Wednesday I really hope we have at least a little snippet more Wednesday.
Oh, and everything that we've thought of, it's going to be totally wrong on Wednesday. So.
Absolutely right.
Probably,
Yeah.
They're not even going to drop Mario Kart. They're just going to be oh, actually, you know what? We just had some screenshots of a new tour. We're going to just update your tour games. We're going to drop a couple more tracks for it. Jedi, you're going to have a great time with it. Everybody else, TS. We're just going to re-release Animal Crossing, and AG's going to be happy.
Yes, I will. Me and Mickey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so one thing I did want to bring up in terms of, I guess, new gimmick, even though this isn't a new gimmick, is playing to the reroutes that they introduced in the Booster Course Pass. Ray's got the trailer up on stream, and I'm just looking at it right now. Going into the first couple of seconds, you already see a split path in the road. You can kind of turn left, and it's more like a concrete road. But to the right, which is the direction that the racers go, it's more of that dirt path. Do we think that I wrote it down as the tour-esque reroutes in my notes? Ooh. Is that going to be one of the big gimmicks of the next game? Are we going to see that in all the tracks, or is this just going to be a one-off?
I think that could be really fascinating because it'd be really fun is if they just didn't tell you which one you're selecting either. Okay, you know what? We got a race at New York, and you could get one of 4 options for what the New York routing could be.
Animal Crossing with weather.
What's Animal Crossing? Yeah, I think
the track, because you pick in, you don't know spring or winter or whatever.
I was making a joke, but now I understand what you mean. Yeah, the seasons. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we all know that you hold down R2, you get winter. But yeah, I think that could be a cool aspect to it. Thinking if we have those options. So
well, and to add on to that, a possible gimmick with the gas station or whatever that everyone's speculating on. Maybe it's something where you can switch between a few preset carts or switch cart real quick. Because hey, first lap was on this type of surface, and now next lap, because it's changing, and now you're on concrete instead of dirt. Now you want a different type of cart because it's more optimal for that. And of course, the switching of carts would be interesting to see how they handle that. But that could be something that plays into it, where it's just switching mid race to keep the faster time.
That's a great idea from Ariel. I just want to say, wow.
I do.
Thought of that.
That would be really cool. Adds again just the the layers, the elements. So
Like an ogre.
yeah.
So Smeagol asked in the chat about an adventure mode, and I know there's some people have talked about that. Will it do that? What do you guys think? Like a better solo player, because right now you just I'm going to play all the cups and I get my stars and I move on.
But would it be good? I mean, Jedi, you and I both played through the Mario Golf Adventure mode.
I was going to say the same
I'm
thing.
currently trying to do the Aces Adventure mode, and they both stink. They're not fun. They're just not good. So I don't know. That Kart needs something
We just
like
don't trust
that.
Nintendo to do it, right? Like,
No, because I would assume that they would invest the time in creating a quality racing game, and the adventure mode would just be sort of this a side project for some. Yeah.
It's a
I
tutorial
think
on
I
how to
could.
play the game.
we agree, right?
I think I could enjoy that. I'd have to actually disagree. Like, I think that might actually be something that would be different and different from what we already have, since we do already have like a lot in the game. I wouldn't mind an adventure mode. I liked the Smash Ultimate adventure mode a lot. Me and my husband played that. I think that came out. Did that come out during the pandemic, or was that before that?
I think it was out
Okay,
before.
It was
Smash
before.
Ultimate
I
was
just remember.
2018, so yeah, it was before.
Okay, gotcha. So couldn't remember if that was then or not, but regardless, I'd have very good memories of playing that with my husband doing the adventure mode, and it was a lot of fun. So I feel like Mario Kart could be equally as fun.
I would just hope they would do it justice. That
Yeah,
would be
I
my
would
one
agree.
fear.
It would stink if they did it and it
Yeah.
wasn't good. But
I mean, like-
I feel like if they put effort into it, actually did it justice.
You're getting bits fired up about golf now. I can hear them.
Yeah.
I know, like,
Not at all. Not at all.
that could be a good game if Nintendo put 20 minutes into it. Yeah, I mean, I say thinking, where Smeagol's coming from with, Diddy Kong Racing, I will, unapologetically say like Diddy Kong Racing superior to Mario Kart 64 for that adventure mode. That is when I'm growing up as a kid playing that game. The adventure mode of beating Wizpig was just awesome. It'd be great if Nintendo could get something engaging, get something along those lines that would be, not feel gimmicky. I think that's where maybe golf it feels gimmicky. With tennis, it feels gimmicky, So yeah, getting that versus just racing through. But I mean, if they kept it classic, this will be a great selling game. It will sell systems. Nintendo knows what they're doing in that kind of aspect. So it's too big to fail.
What's everyone's thoughts on the difference between adventure mode versus going back to Mario Kart DS style mission mode? Because I feel like those could be two separate
I never
things.
played that, so you'll have to explain.
I was gonna
that
say
to me.
I'm dark ages of video games then.
So mission mode very similar to adventure mode, and say just they're not necessarily connected. Like say in an adventure mode you'd go through, boss fight 1, boss fight 2, boss fight 3, but instead of like that connecting like story, it's just like, okay, you just straight up do boss fight 1, boss fight 2, boss fight 3, or like, oh, you got to go through a certain number of rings in a certain part of a track or get a certain amount of coins in a certain amount of time, just individual, not cohesive.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't realize Mario Kart DS did that. Gosh, there were
I don't
other
remember if I ever
things.
played that on Mario Kart DS. I played a lot of Mario Kart DS growing up, but I don't remember that.
I think there's. I'm trying to think like
enjoyed the missions. I really like the missions from Mario Kart DS because it was it was kind of like a sneaky tutorial, but also helped you get better at some of the techniques in the game. Because it's like, hey, like you get because you even get a score of like 1 to 3 stars on how fast you complete it. So like if you're going for 3 stars on everything, like you start getting really good at having to drift through those rings and timing everything and stuff. So
yeah, so it's not It's not I don't think it was the first to do it, but the Gran Turismo games always had that mode. The license challenges where you would force you to drive it. And I remember with Gran Turismo 3 for the PlayStation 2, like figuring out the rally was like always the one that I just loved it. And I remember like grinding those times to just drop them to get the different stars for the different things. So
Yeah, I love the licensing in Gran Turismo. And they kind of have that also in Tour, where the fourth race of each cup is like that. Hey, you've got your ring race where you got to go through these rings or these coins or so they have it's once you get through it, it's like, okay, this is just a tutorial and I don't do those anymore unless I need to complete the cup. So it would have to be something that would be ongoing, that they would change it up enough. Which is, I just said ongoing. Here's something that I want to see. I want to see, because we have we just had 48 courses and then they added another 48. Now we got our 96. I want to see like two cups that rotate monthly or something where it's like, hey, here's some new tracks that you get in there. And it's changing it up, because once you learn this stuff, and that's one of the fun things I really like about Tour, is that every 2 weeks you get a new set of courses. And so I'd like to see, me personally, just not all of them, but a small section that just rotate in and out.
That would be pretty wild. Like just this week, some things. I mean, because new Nintendo IP, just thinking like Splatoon, every 2 hours they rotate the game on which courses that you have and everything. That would be certainly an interesting aspect. I mean, in terms of like how we play the game as a group. It'd be like, oh, this week, like, oh, we know those are Jedi tracks. Like, he's gonna be awesome this week in gangs. Like you want him, and that could be a really cool aspect of it. I'm kind of really thinking outside the box.
I just want to say that would be incredible. Have a few courses in the back that you just rotate. Incredible idea.
And I mean, I'll add onto it, not just like rotational courses, but I mean, kind of piggybacking off of the customization that I've been wanting, like add in items that you can earn in the month and stuff on rotation. I think most of the time I kind of just refer to the Switch Sports method of how they did things, of how you can earn customization each month. And there's like a theme that month. I know Tour probably did something similar. I'm just not completely familiar with Tour. But like just allowing it to be like incentivizing people, like, hey, even if you don't like these tracks that are on rotation, like you should still play them so that you can earn these customization items and different things like that. So.
Yeah, and I guess what I love playing Tour, and like I said, I still play it. It does also feel a lot of like Nintendo's asking, what can we get away with for the next Mario Kart? It feels like they're just trying different stuff and seeing what, because there was the Gold Pass, and then they kind of pulled back on that and all sorts of different stuff. So it has really felt like let's throw some experience in a mobile game and see what we can do.
Because the end goal for Mario Kart is not only just to sell the game itself, but it's also to make it, or to turn it into almost like a living product almost. And I feel like the Booster Course Pass in 8 Deluxe kind of added that longevity, because without that, I feel like, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily die out, but I feel like people slowly but surely start to lose interest.
I'd like to, I'm curious how the sales numbers went towards the end before they introduced the Booster Pass, and then since then. I'd be curious to see. I know it was kept selling, but I wonder if there was more of a boost of, hey, they're adding more to this game, maybe I will get it now.
I think absolutely, just in terms of like I remember like when it was announced, like being out of it for so many years, being like, oh, you know what, I want to pick it back up and play these new courses. Like I remember the direct that actually like released it. It was like, whoa, that's gonna be awesome. So
my Booster Course Pass trailer started at Coconut Mall. They're pandering. They're pandering to my generation early.
Gotta get them kids playing this game.
Yeah. Well, it's Coconut Mall playing in the background with like Paris in the shot. I was like, I'm confused here. What's going on?
There's a mall in Paris.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that trailer distinctly. It was that final turn of Coconut Mall with the music too, and everyone's like, "Yes, Coconut Mall's coming to Mario Kart." And then they just kept the music going. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're also adding Paris and Toad Circuit
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Tokyo and like all these different tracks." And they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're just gonna double the number of courses in this game. Like,
Yeah.
have fun."
I was sitting in a restaurant watching it when it played, and I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, imagine like again something a lot of us and this chat now missed out on, but being in the group for that, I mean, what a treat to kind of go throughout that whole thing with everybody. So I think I kind of like that gives us kind of like the perfect spot. Like, so this next game, I think this group and kind of like what it means to all of us and going forward. Like, I think it's still going to be there. We've got an admin team now. You guys are going to be tasked with figuring out how this new game becomes the game that we play. And good luck without making anybody upset with it, because it's going to
the
be
transition's going to be interesting because there's
Yeah.
going to
We'll all
be
revert back to 8.
there's going to be people that buy it on day one, and there's going to be people that
and it takes a little bit.
won't or can't buy it
Yeah.
on day one,
Yeah.
and it will be or even in the first year or whatever. How do we as a group still keep the group strong in this moment where some still only have the original Switch and 8 and some have Switch 2? So it'll be just one of those challenges that we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
I think we're in good hands with it.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, as an MKR admin, that discussion has come up a few times. Like, okay, how are we going to navigate this? And I've kind of said, at least for right now, let's not worry too much about jumping the gun on switching, because we already know the day one adapters of the Switch 2 are still going to be able to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the new console, on the Switch 1, however they want. We can still retain the early adapters of the Switch 2. It's really finding that definition point of, okay, how many people in the group warrants a reason to want to switch. Then, not to mention, how in the world are we going to adapt all the various MKR formats to work with the new game? Like, are we just going to completely combine group A and B and just have that be a 24 racer final?
Oh my gosh.
I want every single person, every single season in a race. Like, everybody's got to go in. We're gonna
Pandemonium.
throw it.
Is what that is.
74
The custom
people.
tournaments, they just keep adding into the same lobby.
Everybody. I want everybody.
Ian, you just heard
14
it.
cart gangs, right?
Giddy up. Let's
Yeah,
go.
exactly. Yeah. No, so like, and I do have again, I think we're in a good spot. Some like last little bits that I do want to throw out there, and I know Basic had to take off early, and I remember him saying this, and he has committed, like, the basic training is going to come out for this new game. He is making that commitment. I know that the competitive scene, Ariel, I don't know if you have anything you want to add after I say this. Like, I know that from some of the competitive scenes for some of the major LAN events like Riptide, they've already announced, hey, if the game is out, that's the one we're going with. So it'll be really kind of, I know, like, from some groups, again, that's super, the ultra competitive side of it, it's like, oh, we're going to go right in. So.
On the competitive side, I can't speak for the Vegas scene because the Vegas scene has its own issues right now. But I will say online scene, so like with Mogies and stuff, like they've already announced in Lounge that, like, hey, once the new game is out, like, it's out, and Lounge for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is pretty much done. So like this is like right now we're technically in the very last season of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Lounge. Like, it's the final season, and then after this, like, they're not going to really be supporting it as much anymore and stuff, and it's kind of going to die off. There's not going to be any more seasons. It's kind of like it'll just continue technically.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be there. There's no more season rankings or anything like that. Like, they're going to fully switch as soon as the next game's out. And so I mean, it just depends on the infrastructure. Because like part of the reason why I'm like I have no idea what the Vegas scene is going to do is because I have no idea how quick the arena is going to be able to get enough Switch 2s to support that. Because it was a while before they managed to even get like the booster course pass for everyone.
Yeah.
For like all the Switches. Like we were primarily, I think they only had like 2 Switches on there that actually had the booster course pass for a while, and we just because they were in the lobby, we were all able to pick those tracks. But like, there's only 2 people that could pick Birdo for the longest time, and so everyone's going to have adjustment periods. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
All right. Well, Ian, do you have anything else that you want to?
I mean, I guess other than just like hitting on little bullet points and stuff, but I feel like we knocked it out of the park. I mean, I guess one final question before we wrap everything up. One feature, if you could have one feature in the next Mario Kart game, what would it be and why?
Well, I've
I'll
already
start.
said mine, the rotating
Yeah.
courses.
Mm-hmm.
How about
Character
building out-
skins.
Oh, go ahead, AG. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Character skins, so changing, like having different versions of your character or outfits for your character more than just the me. But like as a villager main, I would love different villagers. I mean, than my ratty hair boy that I like. So
I was just gonna say let's
Oh.
build out that battle mode a little bit more. We didn't talk about battle mode at all
Ooh.
tonight, but
yeah.
those are fun. I enjoy when we do battle tournaments. I think they're a lot of fun. So I'd like to see some time and effort be put into that. That's
You know, Ian even put in the notes the underappreciated in-game tournament, and we totally forgot it.
Yep.
No, that would be. I guess that gets back to what made, Mario Kart 64 had the edge for sure on the battle mode. So yeah, I think that would be an awesome thing to see. I think for me personally, just keeping it fresh. Just I love the idea of the rotating tracks. Just the couple week cycles of it. That would be really, really cool. I think it would keep it on your toes. I think the one, just having the ability for anybody to be able to win it, win at the game. And I think that would be something that would definitely add a layer to it. It would just make it again, it would make it hard to be completely dominant if you really don't know what's coming up next. So
Maybe this is too maple syrupy, but I want more basic training. I want to see that back. New courses, new strategies. I just want to have some new basic training videos.
get cracking, make it up.
I think based on my previous comments, this one's not going to be a surprise, but just as much customization as possible. Like the new Sonic Team Racing Crossworlds game, like I was blown away by how much I could customize, like just everything on the like all the colors and every aspect of the vehicles. Like I could just go and choose and like actually make it where like cool. Now my car is like my channel's theme, or like, oh, it's the color scheme that I really, really like, but it helps me. Like, I want to be able to stand apart and not just be like, oh, cool, everyone has the same vehicle. Like, if we all, like, even if it was Waluigi Wiggler, if we were back to Waluigi Wiggler, but everyone's Wiggler was different colors, and everyone's Waluigi had, like, scarves and hats and different glasses and stuff like that, that would at least add some personality to it instead of just being boring, cool, everyone's racing the same meta again, blah, 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 blah. Like, add some individuality to it.
That's accurate for sure.
Yeah, I feel like for me personally, the one thing I kind of want them to do is to keep digging into that bag of obscure Mario characters. Because a lot of people are suspecting with the 24 racers per race now, the roster in this game is going to be massive. Like we're talking over 50 characters, maybe pushing 60. And assuming that all of 8 Deluxe's roster stays, minus potentially, your Animal Crossing, your Inklings, and your Link and whatnot, that's another 10 to 12 slots you still need to fill.
As long as
They
as
get
long
rid
as
of
they
Link,
don't-
I'm done.
Yeah, just keep the links coming. I mean, as long as if we don't see Mega Man, I think no one will be sad.
Yeah,
There's not a single
Mega Man
person
is
that's going to be
gotta
upset
make
without
an
Mega Man,
appearance.
right?
It is.
I don't know. My
We are
husband would be
long
sad. He
overdue.
loves Mega Man.
We'd be long overdue for Mega
There's a certain
Man.
brother that likes him too.
Yeah. I just know in Mario Party, Monty Mole, Spike,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
characters are playable. A lot of people online in their predictions are saying, "Oh yeah, we'll see Pom Pom and Boom Boom playable." Charging Chuck. It's like,
Get
yeah,
Nabbit.
That's right. He's a golfer.
Nabbit. I wouldn't
Yeah,
be surprised if
I want
Nabbit is
Kirby.
unlocked.
That's what I want. I want Kirby in there. There's already a racing game for Kirby. Let's add him into Mario Kart. Why not?
I like it.
Yeah. So Nintendo Switch 2 Direct next Wednesday, early o'clock in the morning. Feel bad for the West Coast people. They got to be up at like 6 a.m. to watch that live.
I don't think they're gonna sleep. They're gonna be just
At least I get to watch it before going to work instead of at work.
That
I'm
is
watching.
true, yeah.
It's making that time. It hit at the perfect time for me, so I'll be able to catch it regardless.
Yeah,
So-
I'm just hoping that presentation's over before I have to go to school. Like tops, that presentation's probably going to be like 90 minutes. That'll be perfect for me. I just need to get out of bed and watch
Maybe
it.
they're just gonna fool us all, and tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, it all drops. Like they just, you know what? Here we go.
Plot twist: the Switch One Direct
Wouldn't
is
that be?
secretly Switch 2.
I feel like that never. Nintendo is.
No,
You still got to play by their rules. So, well, it's great having everybody on tonight. Ian, thank you for putting this together. So,
100%.
thank
Yeah,
you,
thanks.
all you
Long
guys,
discussion.
for joining me for this
Yeah, this was
discussion. That
fun.
was awesome. Yeah.
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 I mean, at least from an MKR perspective, this is playoffs currently. So, Kart Gang's finals are tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. I don't know who all is going to be streaming that. Frizz, I'm assuming you will
I'll have
be.
mine up. Yep.
There'll be a handful of other people as well. So keep on the lookout on Channel 3 for streamers for that tomorrow, and Cups finals next Monday as well.
All right. We'll see you guys in those streets.
Yeah. And I just want to say,
GG's.
and real quick, I just want to thank Ray from Channel 3 for putting the stream together, letting us use the Channel 3 stream, and just for Channel 3 in general as a platform for letting us have the success we have as a Mario Kart group. I mean, without the quests and events and stuff, we would be far less organized than we are. So
Well said, Ian.
yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, so thank you to Channel 3 for everything. I see Ray's got a raid loaded, and we will catch all y'all on the racetrack, whether it be Thursday, Monday, next